A Russian legend which is considered almost sacred.
I saw American soldiers throwing away their M16 rifles and picking up the Soviet AK-47.
The Kalashnikov assault rifle was a symbol of the USSR. It was drawn in children's pictures, made into plastic toys, and supplied by the tens of thousands to various African and Latin American countries. To this day, it even appears on the flags of some countries.
In some African countries, children are given the name Kalash so that they may inherit the endurance of this weapon, and boys receive a Kalash as a gift as soon as they grow tall enough to match its length.
But the pride of Russia is in fact stolen. The sacred symbol was disgraced by the USSR itself.
Kalashnikov and his invention are one of the myths of the Soviet Union, like Pavka Korchagin, Pavlik Morozov, and all those Panfilov's men.
Who actually created the legendary assault rifle. Why is Kalashnikov a fraud, and why did the Kalash become a legendary weapon? We'll tell you all about this and more in just a moment. AK and its modifications are the most widespread firearms in the world. They are in service in more than 100 countries, and there are over 100 million units of this rifle in existence. Kalashnikov is a whole family of weapons with many modifications, up to the newest K-12, which was adopted by the Russian army in 2018.
Has anyone had the K-12 jammed during shooting practice?
Yeah, that happened.
Mine jammed. Yours jammed? Your rifle jammed? I also saw someone else's jam yesterday. Oh, the warrant officers jammed. There were feeding failures. Do you like the AK-12 rifle? No, sir. You're wrong. This is the best firearm in the world.
But today we're going to talk about a classic, the iconic AK-47, truly a legendary weapon.
Its main advantage is that it's exceptionally durable. Maiso, it doesn't easily break, and with the original rifle you could row, dig, fight, brawl, and shoot.
The reliability of the Kalashnikov is considered its main advantage. Dirt, dust, water, none of that bothers it.
How is that possible? What am I doing? A misfire. We still have a round in the chamber. Maybe now, let's see. It will finally fire. The Kalashnikov will keep working after being tested with water, mud, and sludge. If you have misfires or dirt gets inside, it's enough to just rinse it out.
The Kalashnikov uses a Soviet unitary cartridge of 7.62 caliber. It's slower, less penetrating, but as it turned out during the Vietnam War, more reliable. Of course, the rifle wasn't perfect, but at the time it was a breakthrough model.
The Kalashnikov rifle originally had a particular trait. It wasn't very accurate. That's why the AK-47 had to be equipped right away with a special compensator. A slanted cut that often puzzles people when they look at it. Since then, upgrades aimed at improving its accuracy have continued.
The rifle instantly became iconic, and its designer, Mikhail Kalashnikov, was practically carried on people's shoulders.
Foreigners, when they find out, they say, if you lived abroad, you would have been a multimillionaire by now. Everyone just thinks about those green bills. Aren't there other values?
Mikhail Kalashnikov's invention brought him fame, but it did not bring him wealth. But he was very proud to have been awarded the highest state honors and to have a monument erected in his homeland during his lifetime.
But are these honors and monuments truly deserved? Russian propaganda shouts that they are. But to answer this question, we need to talk a bit about the life of Mikhail Kalashnikov.
According to Soviet legend, Kalashnikov, who was born into a large family as the 17th child, was interested in technology from a young age and had a 7th grade education. In fact, he saw a locomotive for the first time at the age of 17. But in 1930, the Kalashnikov family was dispossessed and exiled to the Omsk region. Soviet biographers preferred not to mention this. Well, in general, before the war, Kalashnikov worked in the field of weapons development. Let me remind you, he had no higher education, he couldn't read blueprints, he only had a 7th grade education. So supposedly Kalashnikov worked in the field of weapons development. So without any of that, before the war, he creates a submachine gun of an unsuccessful design. The conclusion? Not to be adopted for service. It holds no industrial interest.
According to Kalashnikov's biographers, since 1942, the still rather young 23-year-old Misha worked at the Central Scientific Research Testing Range. In 1944, he creates a prototype of a self-loading carbine, which also did not go into mass production. And then, suddenly, in 1947, the legendary Kalashnikov assault rifle is born. It rolled off the assembly line at the Izhevsk machine building plant and was immediately adopted into service. But how did everything happen so quickly? Let's go back 2 years.
In 45, Nazi Germany capitulates, and from the city of Seoul, the Soviet leadership takes away part of the equipment and documentation from the Heinelgel Arms factory, and everything related to the production of the German assault rifle StG-44 was removed, which by some miracle looks very much like the Kalashnikov assault rifle. In addition to the equipment, the Soviet leadership also took German gunsmiths, led by Hugo Schmeisser.
Schmeisser was, in fact, the creator of the German assault rifle. And again, a miraculous coincidence, they took Schmeisser and his team to Izhevsk. The German specialists arrived in the city at the end of October 1946. They were settled in a large house and they worked, yet another miraculous coincidence, at the Izhevsk factory. They had some kind of special assignment there. Everything was classified, but it's not hard to guess what the German gunsmiths were actually working on. What role Mikhail Kalashnikov played is unknown, but the fact remains that the assault rifle was created, if not entirely, then with significant involvement from German specialists, particularly Schmeisser.
Here there is both myth and truth. Kalashnikov, of course, was involved in this grand project to create the rifle that would bear his name, but alongside the new weapon, the Soviet propaganda machine also needed a hero. After the Stalinist repressions and the numerous casualties of the war, the Soviet Union was in acute need of heroes, people who were utterly devoted to Stalin. Kalashnikov was a perfect fit for this role, just like the future cosmonauts or sports heroes of those years. He was a weapons designer of simple working class and peasant origins, the ideal example of a Soviet hero.
What do you think? Who actually created the Kalashnikov rifle? Was it just a coincidence, and did Mikhail Kalashnikov come up with the legendary design on his own? Or did the USSR once again simply take all the credit for itself? Share your thoughts in the comments and don't forget to like this video. And be sure to subscribe to our Arsenal channel so you don't miss out on all the most interesting content.